Welcome to Unleash Your Light with Luz, the podcast where we talk to inspiring people and dive into real life topics that affect us all. We share stories, tips, and simple steps to help you feel less overwhelmed and more confident so you can shine a little brighter. Today's guest is engineer turned fund finder Crystal Goliday. She scored 3 college degrees with 0 student loans, built a nonprofit handing out scholarships, and shows parents how to start the money hunt while their kids are still in elementary school. If you've ever wondered how on earth we will pay for college, like me, Crystal breaks down the exact moves and the motivation you need to make it happen. All right, let's unleash your light and get started. So welcome, Crystal.
Thank you for having me. I feel so honored that you asked me to be here today.
I admire you so much. You are an incredible friend to me. I don't just bring anybody on the show. I bring people who really, I feel, are not only making an impact in the world, but have made an impact on my life.
Thank you for that. I really do appreciate you.
All right, Crystal, tell us a little bit more about you.
Crystal Goliday is just a girl from the Bronx. I had 2 loving parents in my life, which is beautiful to have both parents in my life. 2 different households now. However, they both taught me different things within their journey that I have with me today, being a hard worker, having a philanthropic spirit. I did earlier in my career have a speech impediment. I know, kind of shocking for what I do now, doing public speaking, consulting, being a corporate exec, and all those other things. My mom really sowed a whole lot of seeds into me with Saturday tutorial program and just making sure I was on the right path education-wise to kind of correct that. And also feeding into what my interests were, because I was busy 7 days a week with different programs and stuff. Some like artsy, some just recreational, but some also educational to make sure that I got to the level that I needed to, because I was below grade level when it came to writing, English, all of that other stuff. And they were both able to see me graduate high school. I was not the valedictorian or salutatorian, but I did speak at the graduation, and I got the most awards too, and probably the most funding, because when it was time to go to college, I was able to get a full ride plus additional funding. So my tuition, my housing, my books, my fees, professional conferences, you name it, was paid for by traditional and non-traditional funding sources, no loans. So I have not 1, not 2, but 3 college degrees for free, and I was able to get all of them for free.
Well, that is incredible. Congratulations, girl. That's amazing. What exactly was it that your parents, that you can remember since you were little, that they kept telling you that made you kind of go on in that trajectory?
So I learned at an early age that 1, bills are there. They have to get paid. So secondly, if you want something, you are going to have to roll up your sleeves. I was in public school, the New York public school system. People may look at public school systems and turn their nose up. I'm an advocate for public schools. When I was in middle school, I saw the violence that was going on, just a lot of things going on around the city. I decided I wanted to go to private school just to try it out. So I did that, but that also came as a cost and another bill. When I was there freshman year, I researched different funding sources. So 1, people were going to school for like $50. My parents were paying a couple of $100s, and I'm like, how? I ended up getting a scholarship going into my sophomore year. So that was my first self-advocacy for me. And then that grew to me finding my voice, because I used to be shy, Crystal. Life was happening to me, and I'm like, whoa, if I don't speak up, life is not going to go the way I wanted to. So I started advocating for myself and researching the avenues that I wanted to go in, and realizing engineering was the way I wanted to go. Someone told me about this tremendous opportunity with one organization called NACME, National Action Councils for Minority Engineering. And one of the scholarships they offered at the time was called the Vanguard Scholarship. They had a partnership with different universities, and they paid 20% and a college paid 80% for your tuition and housing. So over time, I was learning from my journey. And then once I wrote this first book, more opportunities and more resources came about where people were like, oh, you know how to get a college degree for free. Did you know about X, Y, and Z resource? And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't. But I'm a lifelong learner where I'm open to people telling me and learning. And then I also went to Drexel University. So I have a book with them as well. And this one, A Legacy to Share. And with that, both of the books, they go into endowment funds. So the one with Drexel goes into endowment fund for the Black Alumni Council. So Black students and brown students could attend Drexel University, which is a PWI, primary white institution. And then my book, How to Get a College Degree for Free, feeds into my nonprofit, Never Underestimate Knowledge. So we're able to afford scholarships every year. And this will be our 5th year doing it. So we do multiple scholarships a year, and I'm very excited about that.
So that was really that pivotal moment for you when you decided, like, I don't want to be in public school because there's so much violence, etc. Let me figure this out. I really love that because I think that it's so interesting how sometimes something may happen when we're kids and we may not even know how to do it, but we kind of figure it out, right? That's happened for me for sure, because my parents were immigrants and they didn't know how to navigate anything in this country. So I kind of took on that role. So that actually shaped me and why I went into journalism. But looking with, in your case, it's like you knew that money was tight and you figured out how to get funding. So that's pretty cool.
Children are kind of fearless. We, as the older generation, we instill fear or like our things that we've learned along the way that kind of limits us sometimes, because sometimes I get in my own way, and I know you do too, because we had a conversation of how we can get out of our own way. Everybody's situation is different. You find your voice and you find your own path. Like, you can create your own destiny. I was able to start a nonprofit titled Never Underestimate Knowledge, which provides resources to inner city youth and domestic violence survivors. Because one, I am a part of both of those groups. I grew up in New York and I had a tumultuous relationship. And I realized when you have resources and you have support, you can go to the moon and back in the solar system. The sky is not the limit for you. You can go way beyond that. We provide an educational scholarship every year, funding for all school ages. So starting at age 3, all the way to adult scholars. And that's usually awarded in November. It's actually the death month of both of my parents, but that's the way I continue their legacy and celebrate their lives.
You are enlightening us with your knowledge, with your gifts, in my opinion, your God-given talents, right? So tell us, like, for me, and I am one of them, my daughter is going to high school next year. And she is in public school. What advice would you give someone like me whose daughter is going to college in about 4 or 5 years? How do we start preparing for that?
I love the fact that you asked, how do I start preparing, not when? It's never too early. It's never too late. My prince is in elementary school. And oh, by the way, we are after funding right now as we speak to figure out what her interests are. And start writing those things down and look at professional organizations, look at community organizations, national organizations, and see what programs they have. And then maybe they have some financial scholarships or contests associated with it. Think outside the box. There's money all around us, and it doesn't always have to be, I'm waiting for FAFSA, which is that federal financial aid form when you fill out when you're about to go to college to see what money they're going to give you. But sometimes it's just loans that they give you, or like depending on the time, and you may get money from the school, you may not. So don't rely on that. And when it comes to looking at your neighborhood, for example, my neighborhood has scholarships for kids that live in the neighborhood. So you want to see if your association has them as well. There's different programs, right, where you can be in, and by the time you graduate, you get a scholarship. For me, it was an engineering program that I was in. I knew that I love math. I did the research to see what fields, and then I decided engineering was my path. So then I got into those programs. They have money associated with it. There's also, and I'm going to go from engineering standpoint, NSBE, National Society for Black Engineers, is actually also National Society for Hispanic Engineers, Society of Hispanic Engineers, called SHEP. They have opportunities. You're creating your network. You probably all heard the statement, your network is your net worth. It's a matter of speaking up about what you're looking for. And it's on you and your princess to research it, put together the appropriate package, and apply for it. And it's a schedule. I feel like people are willy-nilly when it comes to applying for funding. You should have a schedule and a process. Start creating your list. In my book, I do provide like a worksheet template that you can start it off with. A mom gave me a testimony recently, like she's been using that. She's been filling it out. I had categories she didn't think about to add to her spreadsheet. It's about finding what your child's interest is. Your Latino, right? So there's things for Latinos, there's things for scholars in New York, there's things for females, there's things for, even brown hair, black hair,
Are these like nonprofit organizations, community organizations?
It's a mix, right? So my organization is a 501c3 nonprofit. Like for some of the organizations like a Coca-Cola, they are for profit, but they may have a nonprofit arm, they may not. That may just be how they give some of the money away. It just really depends. Just researching it all. I know for me, when I first launched my book, I did a series called Saturday Noon Live. That was the time that I went on, and it's catchy, the title. So on my YouTube channel, I have a playlist called Saturday Noon Live that has the different forms of funding. Like if someone wants to do like a self-paced course, right? Or you just want to just kind of like dibble and dabble and see. Kind of talk about my journey, some tips and stuff like that. But you can dive deeper and take it a step further with that. During my journey, an admin at the school told me about additional funding. She was like, "Oh, we have a pot of money. You can go and represent the school at professional conferences. Let me know." So I was going to professional conferences for free. Always being on, not stressing yourself out, but because you're continually doing it, but starting to document, starting to put your things together, like a portfolio too. Like your princess, I'm sure she has accomplished different things through her years of life so far. So start her portfolio of her accomplishments, like what she was a part of, what the years were, what were their accomplishments from that, whatever role she's had, whatever awards, because it's kind of like you want to have that brag sheet or that profile already created so you can plug it in. I do research. I learn from other people. Someone was mentioning in essays, which it's not my expertise, but I do have someone I work with that works with people on essays. With the essay, have a compelling start. It could be a statement, like a quote. It could be a story leading into it. So it's you want to stand out. It's about probability. Everybody's not winning the lottery, and you got to look at these funding sources as they're having a pool of people, say 100 people, right? You are just 1%, one person out of 100 people to apply. So your probability is 1% if 100 people apply. When it comes to these larger scholarships, like I mentioned, the Bill Gates, Coca-Cola, they have that marketing budget where they are everywhere and people know about them. You got to think and look locally. Sororities and fraternities, churches, neighborhoods, companies that you use, different programs that you're involved in. You just never know. And I've seen people sponsor people.
Now, do you need to be, I know you said that you started with your son already. So does that basically mean that you can start as early as when they're babies?
You can actually start probably prior to their babies. There's certain ways that you can do that. One, you can start saving for them. But once they get their social security number, the 529, you can start that. And then every birthday, people can put gifts or Christmas or whatever holiday you celebrate. Because let's face it, our kids don't need any more toys. Agreed. And the clothes, they may be wearing uniform.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So you can do that, but there's different things. Keep your eye out, keep in tune with me, like follow my social media.
What you said before, that you don't need to be a straight A student. I wasn't a straight A student. When I compare like my daughters, like my oldest is like a straight A student. She is like super diligent with her studies, but my little one is not. She's very smart too, but she's not a straight A, she's like B's mostly. That is so, that makes, I'm sure like if she were listening to this podcast, it would make her feel good knowing that she doesn't have to be like her sister. She doesn't have to have, straight A's, because you can still get scholarships or help with, with education. So that's really good to know.
Even with the full ride that I had, it wasn't, I had to have a 99.9, 4.0. Even now, people have over 4.0 GPAs. That blows my mind. But okay, I know it's like the AP courses and all that stuff. It was a well-roundedness of the individual. We had to go to an interview, a mathematical assessment. We had to go to an immersion program. Like there was steps and levels to it for them to invest in me for that particular college funding source. But I was doing community service. It wasn't just a monolithic go to school and get the grades. I was getting decent grades, but you want to stand out. I also working with one of my interns for my nonprofit where we're working on a passion project. because people want to know, what are you passionate about? What have you done for it? And how have you started it from beginning to end? And it doesn't have to be something that somebody else did. It's something that you created and saw from beginning to end. What would you contribute to our campus? When you go on a campus, you're contributing, if you think about it or not.
Character and, like you said, passion, those are things that are important. I talk to my daughters a lot about that. And I have to say, I am going to pat myself on the back a little bit over here, right?
As you should. You're doing an amazing job.
My daughters are pretty well-rounded. And right now, as they navigate middle school, my daughter's going into high school, I feel very confident that she's going to, I'm not going to say that it's going to be easy, but that she is going to do pretty well because she has a very good understanding of the world.
But you know what? The biggest compliment for a parent is to have someone else compliment your child.
Yes.
I received some compliments from school, and we started a new school this year. And that transition, he didn't want to change schools, but he is doing amazing. Awards and just the things people are saying. It's like, oh, yeah. And it brings me to tears, like when they first tell me, and I'm like, and I do want to tell you this, because even with applying for jobs, applying for scholarships, college funding, being in contests, whatever, it could be a blow to your ego when you get the no. And you're going to get a no. But as I mentioned with probability with applying for one thing, it's the probability of the whole thing. That's why I said have a schedule where you continue, like say every week, I'm applying at this phase for one thing or researching and adding to my spreadsheet so that it's not just you're counting on this one particular thing. It's like you have things, you don't have all your eggs in one basket. I know we've heard that statement. You have different baskets, different diversifying so that, oh, this one worked out great. This one didn't. All right, we on to the next. So I want people to remember that because I know mental health is really important. And I know we're big on doing personal development. Be it devotionals, be it something to speak to your spirit, be it a fiction book where you just want to see the juicy dirt that an author had put together. Just something to get your mind stimulated and put you in a better mindset, because the world is going to be out there and it's going to try to beat you up in some senses or give you the nose. But just remember who you are and who you are, and that you are amazing, and that what is meant for you, nobody can take it away from you. It's going to be yours. That requires internal work for everyone, even our children. We have to feed into our children.
To that. I don't know how else to follow that up with, girl. Like, yes, let's tell them.
Well, they can follow
how
me,
they can find
on the different platforms.
Finder for education, Crystal Goliday.
That is me, and also Crystal, aka where the money resides, Goliday. Another mom gave me that title when she found out all the amazing things that I was doing. But I have my website. It's simply my name, crystalgoliday.com. And on there, we have my different social media websites. So as I mentioned, I'm on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel. Instagram, definitely follow my page as well as my nonprofit page.
What is your nonprofit page on Instagram?
Never underestimate knowledge. And you'll see me as a profile picture with both of them with the logo on. I try to keep it simple. Either my name, Crystal Goliday, and there's not many Crystal Golidays out there, but there's probably one that I know of that looks like me. And you can Google me. I'm Googleicious. You'll see.
And I'll put all your information. I'll put all those links in the show notes as well. So it's okay. I will put it all there. So please go to the show notes. So is there anything else, Crystal, that you'd love to share before we say hasta luego, which means, till next time?
I hablo español un poquito. So one thing I want to remind people is that education is the most powerful tool which you can use to change the world. With obtaining degrees or whatever knowledge that you want, no one can take that from you. So invest in yourself. It could be formally or informally, because college may not be your route, but just feed your mind, feed your heart, feed your soul, and do good in the world. That's it. That's all. Crystal Goliday signing out. Thank you.